Welcome back to the REI Marketing Weekly. I'm your host, Josh Culler. Today, I'm going to be doing a solo episode with you. This is going to be an episode specifically just me talking about things that I am specifically an expert in. So I'm going to be utilizing this. We have two podcast episodes weekly that are going to be coming out for the REI Marketing Weekly. The one on Tuesdays is going to be with our guest, whoever we have on the show, that's an active real estate investor that's talking about the marketing they are doing in their specific business. For me, the Thursday or Friday episodes haven't decided at the time of this recording when this is going to go out. But you already know because you're listening to it right now. But the solo episodes that I'm going to be doing are the ones that I talk about the things that I'm an expert in. So I run a marketing agency that is specifically built around servicing organic content for real estate investors, whether you're an active real estate investor, wholesaler, flipper, rental, storage guy, it doesn't matter, private lender, doesn't matter what you're doing, or you're an educator in whatever way. You have a coaching program, mastermind, you have courses, stuff like that, events that you host. We do that for real estate investors. We manage social media, we manage YouTube, podcasts, video content, stuff like that. So I want to specifically have an episode every single week where I come on and help you guys with things that I'm seeing out there with real estate investors in terms of doing video content. Now, you might be listening, you might be saying, well, Josh, I don't want to start a coaching program. I'm not an educator. I don't want to do one-on-one coaching. I don't want to host events or be an influencer or whatever it is. That's fine and dandy. However, even if you are just an active real estate investor looking for information on how to generate more motivated seller leads or improve your brand, raise private money, whatever it is, these episodes are still going to be for you. At the time of this recording, when we've recorded, I think now 15 episodes for the REI Marketing Weekly for the interviews specifically, a lot of what's talked about are tactics that are right in alignment with, doing things that worked almost 8, 9, 10 years ago. Direct mail, networking, TV advertising, like all that kind of stuff. Like almost everything else has been thrown out the window. We'll talk about tactics with like skip tracing and, making sure you have the right data, tracking KPIs, stuff like that. However, a lot of what people are doing today in the summer of 2024 are it's just the fundamentals. It's what works in marketing and just pouring more fuel on that fire. What are you doing today that's working, and just pour more fuel on that. So in this episode today, I want to specifically talk about video content, why you would even consider video content, just kind of making a hard transition there. I know that wasn't like a bridge or anything, but I just want to make a hard transition into what the episode is today so that I don't belabor, introductions or anything like that. So obviously, with the way that I kind of run my business, it's all video-based content for the most part. Like, even podcasts, if I'm managing a podcast for a client, video-based content. Now, again, you may be listening, you're like, I'm an active wholesaler, I'm not just interested in starting a podcast. The reality is, we all know that video, it is the thing today. It's what generates leads in the digital world of marketing in 2024. If I have to explain that to you any more thoroughly, then, I shouldn't have to. You should already know the value of video. So what I'm going to be doing today is I'm going to be going over, I did if you guys are familiar with the platform Carrot or Investor Carrot, they're clients of mine, very good friends. Trevor's a great friend of mine. And then Brady Winder, who does the podcast and stuff like that. He's and hosts the events, I believe. He's a good friend of mine as well. We work with them very closely. But I did a presentation with them for one of their summits a couple weeks ago. And I wanted to kind of go through that with you guys because I thought it'd be a great episode to kind of break into why do video content in the first place. You're an active real estate investor. You're thinking about generating motivated seller leads. Maybe you're doing direct mail, TV advertising, and you're like, I need to add something. I know I need to do video. I know I need to do social media or video in some way, shape, or form. I just don't know where to start. This is the episode that you're going to be listening to right now. So first things first, obviously we got to lay a foundation. Why would you do video in the first place? It's highly important to understand why you do something, because if you don't understand why you're doing it, typically you're not going to start doing it, or you're at least not going to stay consistent with doing it. So that's highly important. So I like to start these things off with quotes, statements from credible sources. So there's a guy named Donald Miller. He created the Story Brand System, and he has a great statement. I kind of tweaked it a little bit to match kind of the way I teach this, but he has a great statement that says, people don't buy the best products or services. They buy the products and services they understand the fastest. So basically what that means, let's crack that statement open. If I am interested in buying a phone that's not an iPhone, maybe I'm interested for whatever reason into an Android phone, I'm going to go looking more than likely probably to YouTube and watch a bunch of reviews on whatever Android phones are out in the world right now. And whatever one I can understand is going to meet my needs the fastest, that's normally going to be the one I buy. Let's just take, for instance, water bottles. I got a water bottle right next to me. If you are specifically interested in buying a water bottle and you're open-minded to what you're going to buy, maybe you're not set on, I'm going to buy a Stanley or I'm going to buy a Yeti or whatever it is, that brand that you follow. For instance, this is just an Amazon brand called Hydrocell. I love this water bottle. But what I did was I didn't go like spending a lot of time on YouTube looking up reviews and stuff like that. However, I did spend time reading reviews on Amazon where I was looking for a water bottle. And that content there, which is called user-generated content because it's reviews, but also the listing had a bunch of videos and showed like, there's different types of like accessories you could put on the bottle and stuff like that, different lid types if you're drinking coffee or whatever. It gave information about how cold it can keep it, how warm it can keep, hot liquids and stuff like that. All that content that was on the listing for the Amazon listing helped me make the buying decision as opposed to another one that only maybe had a photo of the, the color of the water bottle. So I bought the one that gave me the most information and I understood the fastest. That's kind of the thought process that you're going through here. And with a much bigger, transaction as selling a house, it's highly more important for you to build that informational credibility with a motivated seller lead because it's a big decision for them. What's at stake is, getting ripped off, selling a house to a potential scammer. Another one is, maybe they didn't profit as much as they could have. These are some big things. And a lot of these people are going through motivations that are life-changing events, and you have to treat them like that's happening, right? And so they're going to do research. They're going to look for things to either point out negatively about you and your service or things that are going to be highlighted. It really depends on the person. For me, I'm not a pessimist. I'm an optimist. However, I first look for the good things, but then I secondarily still look for some of the bad things. Like, what are some of the negative reviews about the water bottle? And if it's credible to what I'm looking for, then I will get rid of it, right? So that's why it's important. And the next statement I normally follow up with is currency follows value. If you can deliver value to your demographic, to the people that you're potentially marketing to, normally currency is going to follow that value in some way, shape, or form. Now, it may not always directly relate to money in your pocket. However, let's say you put a video out there and Joe White sees it and it's not directly related to him. He somehow comes across it, but he's not going through the motivation. However, he's got a sister, Susie White, that is going through that problem right now and doesn't know how to solve it. He's going to turn to her and say, hey, I saw this video and I didn't really get any value out of it. However, I think you could, and maybe this might be the solution to the problem that you're going through right now. That's obviously referral marketing and that sort of thing, but the value is going to be following the currency. So, or the vice versa, the currency is going to be following the value based off of who it was delivered to. So that's something to keep in mind here. Like when you're doing organic video content, the basis is not advertising. Advertising is a lot different from organic content. Organic content is built around the thought process of putting value out in front of somebody and delivering enough value to where they make that decision on their own, and it's a much higher quality, better lead, and the process is just so much smoother than just having to, be a salesperson and try to convince somebody to sell their house to you or that sort of thing. That's what you want. Now, a little statistic. This is something that's really interesting when it comes to video content. On your website specifically. Now, obviously, if you are doing video specifically to generate motivated seller leads, you're not going to be putting out daily social media. You're not going to be opening Instagram and putting out 3 videos a day, that sort of thing. Mostly the video that you're going to be putting out are videos that are evergreen and that are going to be able to answer direct questions that a motivated seller lead will have about your service and what you can offer and provide to them. So obviously, you want something on your website. You want multiple videos on your website, as many as you can get. So there's a little statistic here that says that this is the difference in conversions on a website. So conversions could be the amount of web forms filled out or maybe actually like the transaction is made. But without video, you could typically expect a 2.9% conversion rate. So 3 people out of 100 that come to your website are probably going to convert. But if you have a video on there that thoroughly explains who you are and what you do and how you can solve a problem for them, that number jumps up to 4.8%. So now almost 5 people. Now, that doesn't seem like a huge jump. However, would you rather do 3 deals or 5 deals? like 5, right? It's 2 more just for putting evergreen video out there. And the thing you gotta understand too is, for the most part, this video stuff, like, you don't have to be filming fresh video every single month. I just literally got off a call with a guy I'm going to be doing, and he won't mind me giving his name out, but his name's Joey, down in Columbus, Georgia. And I'm going to be coming out to film 2 days worth of video content with him for his wholesaling business. And he's going to be doing a local market, but he's also got a couple virtual markets that we're going to be doing video for. I'm going to be coming out for 2 days, filming, between the 2 days, 15, 16 hours worth of video content. Sounds like a lot. However, that video content is going to be able to last him for a very long time, a year, 2 years maybe, because of the sustainability of that video content, the strategy behind it. But you could do that with video content on a website. You put that on there, it's going to convert, right? Interrupting this podcast episode to tell you guys that this podcast is managed and produced by Culler Media Productions. Yes, shameless plug, that's my company. However, we do this for a lot of other people as well. Most people that we work with are in the real estate investing space. So if you're listening to this podcast specifically, you probably are a real estate investor, given it's called the REI Marketing Weekly. If you're somebody that either wants to start a podcast or you have one going and it's becoming a little bit of a hassle, you're looking to transition to somebody that works a little bit better with a fluid motion in terms of you get the recordings done and then they do everything else, well, that's what we do. We do fully managed podcasts from start to finish, video, audio, show noting, the graphics, publishing, everything that goes into it. It's a full service business that we run here in a service for you as a real estate investor if you are running a podcast. Additionally, we also do social media and YouTube management as well. So all of that being on the organic side, if you are interested in learning more about working with us and just recording content with guidance and strategy set by myself personally, and then not doing anything else after that, where we're taking care of everything from start to finish, then make sure you go check us out at cullermedia.com, CULLER media.com. Hit us up there and we can learn more about working together, hop on a phone call and see what we could do for you. Now back to the episode. So when it comes down to it, like, a lot of times people are like, well, if I'm going to be filming video content, does this mean I need to put it out on Facebook? Do I need to put it on Instagram? Do I need to put it out on TikTok? That sort of thing. The answer is going to be simply knowing your demographic and then knowing where they consume content. So great example for you. If you're a motivated seller lead marketing generating machine, like you want to generate motivated seller leads and that's your purpose, not to get coaching students, not to get clients for a service or whatever it is. You're generating motivated seller leads. Put your videos on YouTube because YouTube is a search platform. Then you're going to backlink those to your website, create a resources page on your website and fill that out as much as you can, but plug in that embed code on YouTube on your website. If you have no idea what I'm talking about and I'm speaking gibberish, email me and I'll be happy to walk you through this and talk you through the process and how this works. It's pretty simple, honestly. And there's a few examples we can give you. Again, like we could go through those things, but for the most part, you're wanting to create video content that's literally answering questions that your motivated sellers have about what it is you do in your service. So that's kind of the next step of this is, first of all, is where do I put the content? Well, you're going to want to put it on your Facebook page. You're going to want to put it on your YouTube page. Build a YouTube page specifically for your house buying business, and then leverage the titling, the video content, the description as much as you can to, what the video is that you're filming. Now, what to film? So it's like, okay, I know where to put this stuff, but what am I filming? So obviously, I would say you're not going to be talking about things like, here, I got this deal and we profited this amount on this deal. That's for coaches. That's for influencers, people that are trying to teach other people how to do what they do. If you're marketing specifically only for motivated seller leads, then the basis is just going to be answering questions. Answering questions. My definition about content marketing is answering the questions that your target demographic has about what it is you do, how you do it, who you are, and your industry. So great example. And guys, listen, I'm going to teach you how to create these topics, but the basis of this is to literally answer questions that your sellers have. Now, one of the purest ways that you can get topics for video is by writing down every single question a lead has for you. So if you're taking calls, or if you have an acquisitions agent taking calls, or a lead manager taking calls, have them write down every single question that a lead gives you. That's video content that you do, especially if it's the same question to everybody that's asking it. You do that video and you do it multiple times, not just once, because the delivery is going to be different. So that's the way that you're kind of going to build out the video content. The other way that you could do it is I could create you a ton of, here's a really simple way to do it too. You guys ever heard of Chat GPT? Open that up, and there's a new feature with 4.0 where it actually will scrape websites and give you information and data off that. Take your website, if it's 123housebuyers.com, take your website, copy the link, the URL to your website, go to Chat GPT and say, Chat GPT, give me 50 video topics that I can do for video content based off of what I do as a service on my website. Cha-ching, it's going to go through your website, scrape every bit of data and within the next 10 seconds, and then it's going to list you out 50 video topics that you can do. Obviously, you could take those, tweak and critique them as much as you can. Guys, we're not looking for it to be done for you. We're looking for some help. You need a little bit of a spark to get content done. You're going to have to do some actions. Like the AI is not going to be able to film the video for you, but it's going to give you some ideas. So take those video ideas, critique them as much as you can, and then go do video. Now, that next step is obviously like, okay, well, now how do I film the video? So simply put, if you have an iPhone that is 4 years young or younger, then use your iPhone. If you aren't competent with a camera, if you don't really know what cameras to use, what to pick out, I will tell you this, in the 10 plus years that I have done content and media work, the number one reason why somebody would stop doing something, whether they don't do it at all or they just stop doing it, is because it got too tedious for them in the technology side of what they're doing. So I literally can't tell you how many offices I've walked into, and I walked in the office and there was a pile of camera gear still in boxes in the corner of that office. They don't open it and they're not using it because it's too overwhelming. Keep it simple. And the way that this works is that you start from ground zero and you build up. Maybe in a year from now, after you film video consistently, you could step up and buy a camera, and then now you can have an assistant walk through the properties with you and film the videos as you're walking through, that sort of thing. And then you get a mic. Like, start from step one. If you can't film video consistently with your iPhone, you're not going to film video consistently with a $5,000 Canon camera. It's just not going to happen. So iPhones work. If you're going to film video for YouTube, then turn it landscape sideways and then film video that way. You can go to Amazon, get a plug-in microphone that's going to be wireless that you could plug in and, capture great audio and that sort of thing. Make sure you're putting an importance on as much quality as you can, but your iPhone will work well. And a lot of these influencers that are out there that put out daily content use their iPhones for video content, and it works perfectly. Like, it's great. And of course, you can level up as you go along, but you start from ground zero. Don't try to start at like level 10. Start at level 1 and then work your way up to 2, then 3, then 4, then 5. And then you get better with, I tell people this all the time, with anything else, you get better the more you do it and the more consistently you do it. So that's what you're working at. Make sure the audio is good. Make sure that you have a microphone. Go buy a $15, $20 microphone that you can plug into your iPhone and just film it that way. Get a tripod. If you don't have anybody that can walk around with you and film the video and hold the camera with, as you're filming, then, get a tripod that you can set up and then film it that way. Now, environment. This is another thing that I get a question on, like, where do I film the video? Well, first of all, don't bill out a $20,000 recording studio, please. If you have a local one that you have a good relationship with and they can set you up, then cool. You don't have to worry about any of this. You just got to walk in and start talking. But if you don't, the best thing that you can do, for me, I always say, be in the environment in which you're talking about. If you are, doing video specifically towards motivated seller leads, go to your property that you have under contract and film video in the front yard. Film it in the kitchen. Talk about the deal. Talk about like this, like we helped this motivated seller out of this issue, and this is kind of how we walked them through this, and they were able to get their things together. We closed, but we allowed them an additional 2 weeks to get moved out of the property. Talk about that stuff. That's what you want to kind of go through and discuss on the video. But be in the environment in which you're talking about. You can, of course, film video inside of your office if you wanted to. If you have a home office, like this is my home office, I film like 100% of my videos here. I do a podcast locally that's not about real estate, but I go to a studio. That's totally fine. They have it all set up for me. I walk in and then I start recording. So that's kind of the environment in which you want to film in. Typically, I say number one is go to a property. If you have something under contract, then do it. If you don't, like, film in front of your house. That's cool too. That's going to work as well. Film in the backyard. Get a little creative with it. Just make sure you got I got a window open right here. That's my lighting. I got a window open right here. That's my lighting, and that works beautifully. Natural light's going to be the best lighting that you can use for video content. So that's everything. Now, in terms of like, well, I don't want to be on camera, Josh. My only answer to that is suck it up. In business, there's so many things that we do that we literally just have to suck it up and do it. We don't enjoy doing it, but we know it needs to be done. This might be one of those things for you. Maybe you're shy on camera, you're timid. Maybe you feel like you fumble over words. Once again, I'll go back to saying, with anything else, the more you do it, the more consistent you are, the more practical you are, the more simple you are, the better you will be at that thing over time. Guys, if you go back to my first podcast I ever published, I don't know, it was maybe 9 years ago. It isn't even on a different podcast probably. I probably sucked in comparison to what I'm doing today, right? But it's been that long of time, and the amount of times I've done it, I got good at it over time. I'm not a professional speaker. I tried Toastmasters for 3 months. I hated it, and I didn't get any value out of it. I've never taken any kind of speaking classes or anything like that. I just do things. Action takers are the ones that are going to set themselves apart. So I would just tell you, suck it up, get on camera, do it. I always say, like, listen, I'm going to pitch my own service here, but post-production is for the people that are not professional speakers. So a great example is I have a client that is terrible at speaking, but he just films a video. He trusts that we're going to clip out any dead space or anything like that. So what he'll do is he'll get out one line, stop, and then get out the next line. Think about it, next line. Think about it, next line. And that's what he does. We'll snip out every time he, pauses or makes a mistake or whatever and make it one congruent video and then get it out for him. That's what post-production's for. So if you need that, if you're the type of person that you need that kind of service, hit me up. Josh@cullermedia.com is my email address. Send me an email and let's talk. But that shouldn't be an excuse. Get on camera, film the video, and then post-production can clip out any mistakes that you do. Typically, I tell people just hit record and don't stop recording until you're done with the entirety of the video. Even if the intended purpose is to be a 1-minute video and it takes you 10 minutes to film it, still do it, because you can condense everything into one video that looks like it's a mistaken less video. But that's basically it, guys. I know I went a little bit of time, 20 minutes here or so. Hopefully this was really valuable. I'm going to be doing one of these types of videos every single week. This one was a little bit more of a broad overview of the process of doing video content for you, for your active real estate investing business. But every week I'm going to be bringing one specific thing. Next week I might bring something about choosing the topics and going a little bit more in depth in that, giving you a little bit more of a tutorial style podcast here. But if you have questions, please don't hesitate to reach out. Again, my email is josh@cullermedia.com. Culler spelled Culler, cullermedia.com. You could connect with me at any social media platform, on YouTube. If you're not watching this on YouTube, if you're listening to this on a podcast, we're going to be putting out a lot of YouTube content as well. Just look up my name, Josh Culler, and then it'll bring up Instagram, Facebook, all that good stuff. I think it's going to do it for today's episode. Once again, if you need help with any of this stuff, if you need more guidance, please don't hesitate to reach out. I am here to bring value and to help people out, and that's why I started this podcast back up. But thank you so much for listening. If you haven't already, make sure you have subscribed to the show. Do me a huge favor, leave a review if you're listening on Apple Podcasts or Spotify. I would very much appreciate your feedback on the show and what value you got over it, and obviously share this with your friends. Guys, thank you so much for listening, and we'll catch you on the next one. See ya.